Ben Shapiro says a very bad day.
The backlash is coming, by the way, with regard to the Black Lives Matter movement's propaganda about police. The backlash is coming because it turns out that crime rates have been rising dramatically around the United States.
Yeah, guys, crime rates is rising dramatically around the United States because cops just simply don't have as much money as they did. It's the $1 million that they were able to take away from their $700 million budget. That's really putting a dent on the crime rates increasing. And not the fact that we are in not a V-shaped recovery, but a K-shaped recovery as a consequence of this pandemic, where white-collar jobs have that feature people being able to work from home have been able to not only recover, but literally add more wealth onto their pre-existing wealth. The middle class is doing all right, whereas everyone below the middle class is getting absolutely dominated and therefore most likely more interested in, trying to survive. That is definitely not the reason, obviously. That can't be the reason. It's because cops can't buy a rocket launcher.
U.S., according to CNN, saw a significant crime rise across major cities in 2020. According to CNN, major American cities...
I just don't understand what that take is because, cops don't even stop crime. It's such an idiotic point. Cops literally do not stop crime. They investigate it after it has happened. The only thing you can say is I guess they create a deterrence or they instill a fear upon people and stop them from doing crime because they're around, but they're still around. Cops don't prevent crime though. Anyways, keep going.
City saw a 33% increase in homicide last year. Okay, that is because of the attempt to absolutely hamstring the cops and make it impossible for them to do their jobs. You think people are going to go along to get along on these particular issues? Tom Cotton is getting dragged through the mud, the senator from Arkansas, because he tweeted out we have a major under-incarceration problem in America and it's getting worse. And people are like, well, yeah, we already incarcerate a lot of people. The question isn't how many people we incarcerate. The question is how many of those people are innocent. Answer, not a lot. And how many people who are guilty are out walking the streets. Answer, some.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that, Ben Shabibo was trying to jail all of Wall Street, financial criminals, things like that. Woke, very woke of Ben.
There's a very simple question to ask when it comes to under-incarceration versus over-incarceration. It is not percentage of people incarcerated. It's percentage of people who committed crimes in jail. That's the only question I care about. If you committed a murder, I don't care if we have more people in jail than other countries.
To be honest, I think we're just, I think Ben is right. We are just a dog country. We house 25% of the entire world's prisoner population, despite making only 4% of the entire world's population in general. We have the most disproportionately incarcerated population out of every country, not just Western nations, not just comparable OECD nations. I mean, literally every country, including China. So if you look at all of that and you say we still need to imprison more, then you're basically saying America is dog shit. Everyone sucks. I guess everyone sucks and everyone should be going to jail. We should literally just jail everyone. Jail Ben Shabibo. Cancel culture, by the way. Cancel culture is when I talk about Mr. Potato Head's fat cock, but not when I literally end someone's life. I decide that someone no longer will have freedom and dehumanize them and throw them in a fucking cage and throw away the goddamn key. That's not damaging. What's really damaging is Mr. Potato Head's pee-pee and Dr. Seuss.
You should be in jail. You committed a murder. So Tom Cotton on the numbers is...
By the way, motherfucker, you're so stupid. Literally no one is saying we should not jail murderers. There is no leftist position that says oh, if you do a murder, you should get away. It's so fucking stupid. And the real reason why Ben is not talking about the actual problems in over-incarcerating people is because you would look like a silly bitch if he was well, actually, we should be throwing everyone in jail for light marijuana offenses because I feel scared about the devil's lettuce. He can't say that because that's the real problem. The real problem with over-incarceration is that, sure, there are rapists, murderers, actual fucking violent felons in jail. Of course there are, because we're a big country. There's a lot of socioeconomic conditions that factor into violent crime that we will never address. There's systemic racism, but that's not the reason why people are we have so many fucking people in jail and this is not good. The reason why people say that is because there are so many non-violent criminals that have no chance of rehabilitation, that are looked at, addicts that are looked at as petty criminals or even violent criminals, rather than, people with a disease that needs to be treated. That's the real issue. Absolutely zero fucking people are why are there so many murderers in prison? They should be out in public. No one says this. So Ben functionally is debating a straw man that he has cultivated because the actual issue makes too much sense and he would look like a fucking gigantic shitlord if he were to literally say, there are too many non-violent, drug offenders in prison right now. There needs to be more, actually. That'd be really fucking stupid if he said that.
is correct. If there's a 33% increase in homicide, that means too few people are in jail. At least when it comes to homicide. Okay, but it doesn't matter because, again, the left can't stop itself. In corporate America, that ship can't be turned. In the media, they cannot re-steer themselves because they have dedicated themselves to activism. The Biden administration can't turn away from its own radicalism.
Yes, the Biden administration is saying we should give less punishments to homicide. By the way, Joe Biden literally is the reason why there are so many fucking black and brown people in jail. Like, directly. As the architect of the crime bill, he's literally the reason why so many people are in jail. And he's now, Ben Shapiro is like now criticizing that very same guy, saying he's not doing enough, that he needs to be jailing even more people.
And the criminal justice system, the Black Lives Matter movement can't steer away from its own radicalism. This is how you end up with videos of BLM activists saying that cities will burn if Derek Chauvin isn't convicted. How do you think this is going to play? You think this is going to play in America? You think this is really going to go well for you? Here is this BLM activist.
If George Floyd's murderer is not sentenced, just know that all hell is going to break loose. Don't be surprised.
I mean, she's right. Like, she's not threatening to do so. You're assuming that she's threatening to do so. Maybe she is, but I fucking talked about this before as well. What, you think I'm going to you think I'm advocating to burn buildings? No. But I'm assuming that this is going to happen if justice is not fucking served because people have been pushed to a point where, you are not listening to them over and over again. And it's bright as fucking day that an injustice has occurred and the government is supposed to fucking step in and do something about it. That's how the fucking law is supposed to work. Also, it's really cool when you find like random TikTokers and you go, well, this random TikToker is a BLM activist and therefore like this is the entirety of the Black Lives Matter movement. I love that. I can't believe that Ben Shapiro found the entirety of Black Lives Matter at this one random black lady doing a TikTok.
When buildings are on fire.
Okay, so here's the thing. Pointing out this whole time, and I think most people who have a brain are noticing, is that this Chauvin case is not clear-cut. Not only is it not clear-cut yesterday...
Brother, there is nothing more clear-cut. The Derek Chauvin case is literally the saying the N-word of like murder cases, okay? You know how conservatives always say, well, that person didn't say the N-word. How could you ever claim that they're racist? They didn't literally say the N-word. You know how like that's what they need for evidence to fucking figure out if someone is, a racist? Well, this is literally that, but with murder, okay? Oh, well, this is not a clear-cut case, even though, every expert testimony so far has shown that he was murdered by asphyxiation caused by Officer Chauvin's knee on his neck. And also, there was like 25 witnesses that saw and witnessed the entire thing, filmed it. There's numerous different camera angles that you could literally fucking find any given moment on the internet. The police chief is saying that this was inappropriate and murder. The fucking other cops, the cops that hired him, cops that were his fucking part of high command have like said that this is inappropriate and murder. Like they have already violated the thin blue line. They have already violated the code of conduct, the unspoken code of conduct that the fraternal order of the police have, which is calling out another cop for murdering especially a black fucking suspect, okay? Like this is literally straight up, this is unusual, okay? This is unusual with how clear cut this is. If you look at all that and you still turn around and say this is not clear cut, well, I think that there's a puzzle piece that's missing in your brain. You pulled out a piece and you just jammed fucking racism into it. And that racism puzzle piece that you jammed into that hole that you left in there is saying, well, this was a deserved murder. Like this person, had it coming for them. They were black. They had a criminal record. Like, obviously he was going to get murdered anyway. He was doing drugs. That's what you're doing. That's the only way that you can look at this case and go, oh, I don't know.
Today happened to be a particularly bad day for the prosecution in the Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. Also, the irony is Ben Shapiro starts this video by saying more people need to be in jail and then fucking turns around and literally says that we shouldn't be like this prosecution of a murderer is ridiculous. Like it's so obvious what he's doing. He's like draconian measures for blacks, but not for white police officers that killed them. Like that's literally what he's doing. It's fucking insane. We need more people to be in prison. Also, this person who's on his way to prison because he fucking murdered someone in front of like hundreds of people and the entire world saw it. Well, that person shouldn't be in prison. Everyone else should be in prison.
Bottom line is this prosecution is not particularly going well for the prosecution. Nelson explored with Mercil whether there were circumstances in which it would be appropriate for an officer to maintain a neck restraint for a substantial period of time. Mercil said yes. sometimes to maintain the neck restraint for however long it took EMS to arrive, asked Nelson. Mercil answered that he personally had maintained restraint on suspects for the duration required for EMS to arrive. The state's own use of force expert testified on cross he personally had engaged in the exact same activity that Chauvin is currently being demonized for. That is not a good day for the state, as Legal Insurrection points out. So again, it was just a very, very bad day for the prosecution. The reason that I'm pointing this out is because what you're hearing from the media is that that if Chauvin doesn't get convicted, it's a referendum on American racism. Cops are all bad. Fewer cops on the street. You think this is...
It's great, dude. He's mad that cops couldn't fucking find a dude with a clearer record on this. I like that the argument from Ben Shabibo is literally though that it's not open and shut. No, it's open and shut in the court of public opinion, and even from a legal point of view, it seems it seems really good on the prosecutor's side, guys. Let's be fucking real. When you have the police chief, the fucking police chief literally come out and speak out against one of his own cops, it's a rip.
Isn't going to backfire? It's going to backfire. It absolutely will backfire on the left, because all they would have to do is say, listen, we're going to look at the facts of the case, and we have a jury system for a reason. They can't do that. They have to say that this is deep American racism, regardless of whatever the evidence shows. And again, it wasn't just that it went badly for that state's witness. There's another state's witness, MPD officer Nicole McKenzie, who's the medical support coordinator. According to Legal Insurrection, McKenzie did really poorly. On direct, the prosecutor had McKenzie testify about how officers had a duty of care to suspects, that Chauvin had CPR and other training that would qualify him to provide emergency care, and that such care must be provided by the officer, even if an ambulance had already been called. Isn't it true, Nelson then asked McKenzie, that you train officers to consider not just the suspect, but the totality of the scene? She said yes. Isn't it true that police officers have a competing duty of safety to themselves, partners, bystanders, paramedics, to the point that if the scene is unsafe, if the officers haven't already announced a code 4 all safe, EMTs will stage a distance away until they are told safety has been achieved? Yes, said McKenzie. Isn't it true safety concerns might not come from the suspect, but from the crowd? Yes. Okay, and by the way, the mob was there shouting at...
The mob, aka more black people. It wasn't just a black suspect. There were also other black people around, guys. So the mob... He's literally verbatim vomiting out what the prosecution has tried to fucking say. So, I mean, what the defense has tried to say so far. He's literally just trying to do that. He is so great. It's great.
I mean, that's why we have tape shouting at Chauvin the entire time, which prevents the EMTs from getting it. All of this.
Yeah, no, I wonder why they were shouting at him. Oh, because they were witnessing a murder happening. Because that's what you're supposed to do. And they were fucking right, by the way. They were literally right. They were witnessing a murder happening, and they were trying to stop the murder from happening.
This generates at least a picture of reasonable doubt. All of this pictures at least the possibility of reasonable doubt. So it's, none of this is going particularly well for the state.
Yeah, the mob was so terrifying. They were such a terrifying presence there that, he had to murder extra hard, guys. That's good. That's a good argument, I think. I think it's a good argument when you're, you push the EMT away because of the mob, and you fucking finish the job on your own extra hard.
And if this results in more riots, if this results in more calls for the end of policing in America, it ain't going to go well for the left either. The left is overreaching on every area in American life right now. You knew it was coming. It is coming. And the backlash is going to be extremely strong.
Ben Shapiro is an expert on body camera footage released of black man arrested while taking out trash. No, I'm not going to watch that. Dude, I can't believe this motherfucker did this, dude. Steven Crowder recreated the entire thing. Here, I'll show you like bits and pieces of it. But now, of course, the irony is, this pussy did not want to fucking do the exact same thing and didn't get the positions right because he is a pussy.